Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Frances Armstrong, I'm known as Fran, and I'm delighted to have been shortlisted for the Lucy Cavendish Fiction Award. And I want to say a big thank you for listening to my extract. I'm going to be reading today from my novel, The Final Festival of Flowers. Mum's hands are in her lap, clasped so tightly that her fingernails pucker the skin. When she relaxes her grip, little fingernail half-moons still dent the flesh. She begins to twiddle her thumbs, each digit rolling and twisting over the other. Her head is turned away, towards the open window, as if she is watching the patchwork barley fields roll past in a blur, as if she is noticing the pink blush of the tulips. It's sweltering. She says nothing, just reaches into her handbag, pulls out her cigarettes and her matches. She won't use a lighter. She's a believer in the old ways. She cups the match to light the cigarette, then shakes out the flame, her cheeks sinking as she draws on the butt. The cigarette tip glows orange before flaking its silvery ash on the upholstery. She blows the smoke sideways out of her mouth, taking aim at the open window. I wish I'd cancelled, but my mother is the type of person who regards plans once made as verbal contracts, and to her, our weekly trip to the garden centre is sacrosanct, undertaken in the spirit of pilgrimage. The day is too bright. Pulling down the sun visor does nothing to block out the light. My window winder doesn't work, just another one of Monty's many shortcomings. So the window is jammed halfway and slamming the edge of the glass does nothing to budge it. I twist the dial for the fan, hoping for a breeze in the tin box, but it's only an eddy of warm air that gusts its way around us. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see that she's turned to look at me, her eyes narrowed, her gaze hovering over my face. She still doesn't say anything. I wasn't expecting to see him either, especially in there, strolling casually around as if outdoor climbers and seasonal shrubbery was his natural habitat. I thought that I was the only one of us left living round these parts. He had changed, of course. Very few people navigate 15 years with only minor modifications. Filled out. How hard that must have been for him, the thickening of thighs, the dogged expansion of waistline, when he was once so slim from all those years of football. Spare skin sagged under his eyes, and his dimples were long lost in jowls. He had a tired look about him, like life had siphoned off what it could. I wonder what Sarah would make of him now, the skin on his forehead furrowed with frown lines, his hairline retreating. Maybe she would have hidden behind those awful artificial boxwood bushes, her fist stuffed in her mouth to stifle her laughter, digging me in the ribs with her free hand. Look what I could have been saddled with. Or perhaps she would have been right there next to him, arguing over cushions for the patio furniture. No, not my Sarah. She would never have settled in suburbia. I almost didn't recognise him. But then he spoke, and the voice got me immediately. Gruff tone, short vowels. A trellis partially obscured him from view, so I was forced to glimpse him in diamond-shaped segments. When I really looked, there was no mistake. It was definitely him. He still had the same large hazel eyes and the same slow, sure manner of walking. 3/4 length shorts gave way to solid calves, and he had a tattoo of something indeterminable poking out of his ankle socks. His trainer laces were tucked in. He had that suburban barbecue on a Saturday afternoon look about him. I could just picture him sipping on a warm Stella, crisping a sausage to charcoal. Behind him traipsed 2 little girls with matching ponytails. One, a tiny child wearing pink glittery wellies, sat down on a trestle. "Keely, off there, please." I already knew he'd married. I suppose I follow such things. That he had 2 little girls was unexpected. They could have been nieces, I suppose. No, they weren't nieces, I could tell by his tone. Not unkind exactly, just a certain everyday curtness. "Get off there, don't touch that." With nieces, it would have been, "What ice cream do you want? And shall we go and look at the guinea pigs?" Just as I was watching one of the little girls pluck a leaf from a rhododendron and squash it between her fingers, he glanced up. Our eyes locked. To his credit, he twitched out a smile. Mum's back was turned, engrossed as she was in the azaleas. Temperamental though, especially in the shade. I mean, you need a sun trap really. Clematis might be better, slightly hardier. At the last minute, she turned and looked up, following the direction of my eyeline. Beneath her blusher, her face sapped white. "Is that Ryan Henderson?" she asked, loud enough for him to hear. I shrugged as nonchalantly as I could, as if it wasn't taking all my effort to quell the tremor in my voice. "Looks like him, doesn't it?" "I thought he moved to Lincoln," she asked, more of an accusation than a question. "Me too. Well, it looks like he's back now." I turned and pretended to examine a climbing rose. But she didn't acknowledge me. She just stood completely still, watching as Ryan wheeled his trolley towards the till. She didn't move, even as he was swallowed by the automatic doors. The forgotten azalea tilted in her hand, and little chunks of soil fell from the pot and crumbled onto the ground. As he faded from view, she blinked, straightened, and placed the azalea back down. "Are you ready to go?" she asked. "Yes, but aren't you going to buy that first?" "No, I think I'll leave it this week," she mumbled, looking at the ground. "You sure? It'll only take a minute to—" "Not this week. I'll buy it for you, my treat." "Leave it, Mila." I said nothing. "You're right about the shade," she muttered, making it towards the exit. "Thank you."